Okay, folks, we continue to make progress in our drum and bass track here. Here's what our drop sounds like right now. There's a couple things we added today to this area. A few little like kind of riser swells. I moved a miles away riser in here. This sound is just, I don't know, it's just so clean, it's so simple, it's so unobtrusive, but does such a good job at just like kind of driving some energy through with a nice little fade that, I don't know, it just works every time. And then this little electro riser we added, just add a little bit more punch to the final transition. I kind of felt like the other sweeps weren't like fully getting this like to move through. Those two things combined help a little bit. I still don't like how this drop starts. It feels like it just kind of starts. It's like don 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 don. I don't know what it is that I'm missing there. I think it's something. I think it's a musical mistake, not a technical mistake. Probably need to go like listen to more drum and bass on like how they actually get into the drop. But someone in the comments recommended adding pads to the high frequencies, the high frequency range. Right now our frequency range was kind of sitting kind of quiet. So what I added today was this Ceremony Sanctuary on the bright tremolo setting with a shaper box that's just taking out the beginning of every note, mainly to make space for the lead here. It also helps cut away from the snare drum to give it a little bit of space every time those line up. But you don't feel the chugging. It just feels like it's hanging there. Honestly, this shaper box stuff really feels like kind of the secret mojo sauce that I felt like I was missing previously. It also becomes a pad we can use in other sections really effectively, including our breakdown and then build section. We're starting to build into the build, and if you look at the title of this video or the thumbnail and you're like, where's the trap stuff? Just wait. I don't know if it's a good idea, but we'll see. Here's what we got right now. I think there's something there. Okay, that grooves really well. It is a very clear departure from kind of the normal drum and bass style, but halftime drum and bass I think is a thing I should do some more research into and learn a little bit about like how people make that. And also, EDM is a genre that is constantly evolving, and if I want to just like mix some things together that sound good with two different genres, that's a completely fine thing for me to do. Now, I will say this particular beat is just one I grabbed out of the loops here. It's just literally this. It comes with a DMD, drum pad, kind of default setup here. I think that kick drum kind of sucks. It's not necessarily the best placement. I would probably want to build my own trap beat here, but as a kind of a proof of concept, I think it works pretty well. And you definitely want a few little beats to kind of transition in. And then what we do next? Do we like a halftime section, or do we build back up? Because this whole section, this part here is supposed to be building this up to a second drop to where we can kind of go into this again. But this kind of starts to take in a different direction. So I'm going back and forth on whether for this particular piece I want to like explore that idea right now, or maybe just like kind of put a breakbeat in here that's a little bit more higher tempo and helps get us through. I do really like the idea in this build-up section of taking out the chord progression and having it just be entirely the one chord. these notes are, there's no chord progression now. It's just sitting on the one chord the whole time. Versus over here where there's, a chord progression. So that's kind of a nice tension builder. I like that. We did, as you kind of heard in there, add some pads as well, which is just that same Ceremony Sanctuary, but this one doesn't have the shaper box on because there's no lead or snare to cut away from. The other thing we did was try to work on our kick drum a little bit that I still don't like. I've just turned off this kind of canned bass and drum kit that we were using at first. It just feels bad, and I've added this in, which if you're listening on a speaker on like a phone, you probably don't hear anything right now. It's this tiny little super low, like where it's coming in like 40 hertz, and I definitely have some work to do here because I think it's kind of getting destroyed by the current kick drum sample. This beat is a sample we downloaded off the internet. But when you put it with this, like the punch of this, if you're listening on speakers, I can hear that, kind of gets taken away, which means that the other kick sample is destroying the first one. I want them to work together. Yeah, those are the main things I added today. I'm intimidated by the end of this right now. Like, where do I go with this? I'm scared to start just throwing things, and I don't want to just copy paste the entire section over, but that is literally what I probably should do for this first drop. I also have the temptation to keep going. This build section over here doesn't feel like we need the drop yet. It feels like we need a whole extra repeat over here of it, and that is a deviation from the format, the form that we've been following that we saw in Metric songs. So I'm okay with moving things as music dictates, but also trying to I am trying to use these as a learning experience to learn about the form, and I don't want to just inject my own ideas too early on in my drum and bass career. But yep, that's all I had today. Thanks so much for watching, learning, growing, putting some stuff together. See you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.